All right, we just walked through the sol lay substitute, and that's how most of this diminished seventh chords resolve. Technically, you can put a lay in the bass and go lay sol and hold on to the top voices on top of that, and then we've created a 6/4/2 suspension in the bass, resolving to 5/3, as they tend to do. But let's take a look at something else we can do with diminished sevenths that have nothing to do with the zons. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create here. We're just going to create this nice little. We're just going to do this nice little. Just going to hang out on do. Now, of course, one of the fun things to do with do. Just put in some different voices here. It's fun to like do neighbor voices, and so like we could go sol, la, sol, mi, fa, mi. This is a very, very common neighbor figure. Our do 5/3. We don't need to repeat the do here. I know it's all do. And do 5/3 turns into a 6/4, turns into a 5/3, and this is what we call a pedal 6/4, and it works fantastically. Just do 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 in the bass. And it gives us a little something interesting happening over the top of it. Just kind of prolongs the do, stretches it out, and we just kind of hang out there and do some neighbor figs. It's particularly cool if we do like sol, lay, sol. That's a neat sound. That molder, I love that sound. Do mi sol mi do fa lay fa do mi sol mi do. It's just a neat sound. That sol lay sol. Love the molder. Something else we can do. Tchaikovsky does at the beginning of his Waltz of the Flowers. That's the example used in our textbook. I like to think of it in the context of the little swimming music from the original Super Mario Brothers game, the waterboards. There's this wonderful chromatic neighbor figure that happens in this. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of do some neighbor voices here. And we'll put some different notes in here. So we're just going to hang out. One of the voices is just going to be a pedal here. Do, 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 pedals in the bass. We're going to go a nice neighbor note here, sol, la, sol. We're going to do a neighbor underneath the mi, and we're going to do this chromatic mi, re, mi. You can hear it, can't you, in the Mario? Do, 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 boom, mi, re, mi. Oh, love that neighbor figure right there. Over the top of a sol, la, sol. The other thing we're going to do is just go sol. We're going to do the neighbor underneath into that. Fi, sol. So I've got this double neighbor note figure coming down. Mi, re, mi, sol, fi, sol. Oh, double chromatic neighbor sounds fantastic. Sol, la, sol goes with that as well. Well, what I've got here, when I do this, let's put it in a key. Tchaikovsky, he's doing a dominant prolongation at the beginning of his D major Waltz of the Flowers. So, our actual pitches here are A, A, A. We'll just think in the key of A major for a moment. That's probably easier than doing secondary key thinking. So A, A, A. Sol, of course, is E. La, F sharp, back to E. E, down to D sharp, back to E. Mi, C sharp, going down to the B sharp there, that re sharped, back to C sharp. And so he does this motion in the voices. Well, look at what we've got here. B sharp to D sharp is a minor third. D sharp to F sharp, minor third. F sharp to A, minor third. For that matter, A to B sharp, well, that's an augmented second. But if you thought A to C natural, that would be a minor third. So it's all minor thirds. This is, in fact, a diminished seventh chord, fully diminished seventh chord. Notice, however, that there's no cantizans things happening here. There's no Tito, there's no Fa Mi, there's no Sol Sol or Lay Sol. It's a pedal chord is what's going on here. What we have here, so I have a Do 5/3. And that 3 goes down to the sharp 9 and back to the 3. And I call it a sharp 9, not a sharp 2, because the bass note is not the dissonant. The bass note is the one that's just staying there the whole time. So I use a 9 to represent the fact that it was a top note that was a dissonance. And I save 2s for bass dissonances. My 5 has a neighbor note down to a sharp 4. Back up to a 5. And then I also have this neighbor note here. 6. Back down to the 5 there as well. So both the sharp 4 and the 5. And the 6 coming back down to that 5 there. Just like that. You'll see some people write it 6, sharp 4, sharp 2. Again, I like to save 2 for bass dissonances, and it's not really my bass that's the dissonance here, it's the top voice that's moving. So technically I could say 10 to sharp 9 to 10, but 10 is 3, same thing. The 2s and the 9s are the thing I like to distinguish. And so I have this chord here, and like I said, it's not acting like a diminished 7th chord functions. It's not acting as a substitute for a dominant 7th chord. There's no sign of sol, ti, re, fa here. Change to ti, re, fa, lay. It's not behaving that way. It's just stretching this out. It's a prolongation. It's a neighbor chord is what it is. Because I keep this note in common, we call this a common tone diminished 7th chord. And so common tone diminished 7th chord, it's just doing chromatic neighbors on the notes above. You keep the, if you will, the root of the chord constant. Do lower chromatic neighbors of the 3rd and the 5th. Mi, re, mi, sol, fi, sol. And then just an upper neighbor, sol, la, sol, a whole step on top of that. And that neighbor motion is how you're going to recognize and write common tone diminished sevenths. I could do it on anything, really. Oh, let's clear this off. And let's prolong my fa, la, do chord with a common tone diminished 7th. And so, of course, what I do is I keep my bass the same. I keep my pedal the same there. We'll just double that bass there. And again, half step down, C, coming right back to La. Half step down, T, coming back to Do. And the whole step up, Re, coming back down to the Do there. Bam! Common tone diminished 7th chord, prolonging the chord. And you can prolong, any major chord like that. Minor, you wouldn't have the half step down on the 3rd. You'd have a double common tone in that case. So common tone diminished 7th chords. Another fun thing you can do with diminished 7th chords. And like I said, it has that really neat waltz sound. Waltz of the Flowers, swimming music from Super Mario Brothers.